My baby brother Caleb, and by baby, I mean he's 19 years my junior and I am his legal guardian, is a weird kid. It's kind of my fault. Up until now, I found his idiosyncrasies adorable rather than off-putting. I guess you could say I encouraged him. For the longest time, he's been obsessed with games. Not video games or board games, but games. Duck, Duck, Goose, Telephone, Freeze Tag, Red Rover, Hide and Seek. He loved these games so much that he started making his own. Unfortunately, I remember his first invention vividly. "Tyler," he announced, "we're going to play blindfold." "What's that?" "It's a surprise. Now tie this around your head." He extended an old bedsheet. I tied it as if it were an absurdly long bandana, which pissed him off. "No, like a blindfold. The game is called blindfold." I pulled it down over my eyes. "Now wait," he giggled surely. "I'll be right back." He ran into the backyard. A chorus of joyous barking greeted him, which was expected because we owned 5 dogs at the time. Caleb cooed and wheedled them for several minutes. My amused condescension quickly soared into irritation. Finally, the back door slid open. Caleb giggled again, then exploded into laughter. "Is the game over yet?" I snapped. "Almost. Hold your breath." I took a deep breath and held it. Caleb came up to me and thrust his hands under my nose. "Take a sniff." I breathed deeply and immediately gagged. The wet, foul smell clung to my nose. I shoved away, gagging, and ripped off the sheet. Caleb clutched a paper towel loaded with dog shit. "Guess." Caleb wheezed hysterically. "Guess which dog it came from." I can't say Caleb's games got worse from there, but they didn't get any better either. His next invention was a game called Hostage, wherein he covered your head with a pillowcase, duct taped your hands, and forced you to play truth or dare. If you screwed up, he threw Hot Wheels at your head. After that came classics such as Book, wherein you had to transcribe his fast and increasingly insane dictations. If you failed or fell behind, he threw water on you. Medicine, where the players held a competition to see who can create and consume the foulest concoctions we could imagine. And Toilet, which I will leave to your imagination. By the time Caleb entered first grade, I'd had enough of his games, so when he approached me with a new one, I blew him off. "Please, Tyler, it's a good game. It's way better than even Toilet." "Nothing's better than Toilet, bud. That was your pinnacle. Exit gracefully." "Please, you haven't played a game with me in a long time." Shocking. "Don't make fun of me." To my utter surprise and mild shame, his lip began to quiver. "Well, if all your games didn't involve poop, barf, and bodily injury, maybe I wouldn't make fun of you." "This one doesn't have any of that." His nostrils flared. "This game isn't like the other ones. It's different, and it's scary." "Nothing's scarier than Toilet." "This is." He drew a ragged breath. Shame needled me again. Caleb was a weird little fucker, but he was my baby brother. Being mean to your baby brother was the ultimate dick move. I heaved a sigh. "Alright, what's it called?" To my surprise, he didn't relax. "Operator, please." I bit back a smirk. "Operator, please?" "Yeah." He stuck his chin out. "You have a problem with it?" No. Tell me the rules." "You have to wait by the phone until it rings. Then you pick it up and say, 'Operator, please, connect me.'" I waited. Caleb stared back, bright-eyed and gleefully anxious. "And then?" I prompted. "You have to see for yourself. Oh wait, He clapped his forehead. I forgot the phone. I have one right here. I indicated my cell phone, but Caleb had already turned around and disappeared into his bedroom. He re-emerged a few minutes later, clutching a battered little rectangle. He set it on the table and waited for my reaction. What is it? A phone, look! He fumbled with it and flipped it open. It was a Motorola Razr with a cracked screen and buttons so worn that the paint had rubbed away. Where did you get that? I asked. Cody at school. I traded him for your band jacket. Anger clashed with helpless amusement. What kind of kid wants a high school band jacket? Cody did. Now come on, we have to play the game. Once we start, we can't stop. Are you ready? Yeah. Caleb grabbed the phone and punched in several numbers. If there's someone specific you want to talk to, you have to type in their birthday. Not their phone number? Huh? Shut up. I'm trying to explain. If you want to talk to somebody specific, you type in their birthday. Then you hold the phone to your ear. It's going to ring 3 times and the operator will say, Operator, how may I help you? Then you say, Operator, please connect me. I watched him with a pained expression. Then they'll connect you. The phone will click, then ring again. It should ring 4 times and someone will answer. If it rings more than 4 times, hang up immediately. If it rings less than 4 times, don't hang up, but don't talk to whatever's on the other end of the line. Wait till the call disconnects. What if I don't want to talk to anyone specific? Then you just dial random numbers. Hey, how do you put this on speaker? I rolled my eyes. You can't, unless it's on a live call. Let's see if this works. I pressed the call button and held the phone to my ear. Tyler, no! The phone began to ring. The familiar, muffled, bring, familiar and unmistakable. I fumbled with the phone and put it on speaker. Bring. Then, a crisp female voice. Operator, how may I help you? Tyler blanched and covered its mouth. I looked at him helplessly. His eyes were huge and glassy. I licked my lips. Operator? I said. Please connect me? As you say. A click, then a series of soft mechanical beeps followed by a clunk. Then, bring. Hello? Caleb gasped. He was white as a sheet, so pale I could see the veins in his forehead. Hello? Who's there? I knew the voice. Knew it better than anyone's except my brothers and my parents. Caleb shook his head. Tyler? The voice on the phone was warm and gentle and amused. Is that you, Tyler? Tyler, it's Grandma. I tried to speak, but my throat only clicked. Tears stung my eyes and began to fall. Caleb shook his head madly. I'm so glad you called, but less glad a cat's got your tongue. How are you, Tyler? Caleb is there too, isn't he? Hello, Caleb, I miss you. I opened my mouth to speak. Caleb rushed over and clapped a hand over my mouth. What was that? Grandma asked. Boys? I closed my eyes. I could practically see her, plump and smiling with gray streaked blonde hair and twinkling blue eyes. Boys, why aren't you talking to me? Is this a joke? A shrill whine entered her voice. It's a terrible joke. How could you do this to me after everything that happened? In my mind's eye, her smile soured into a panicked grimace. Her twinkling eyes bulged, glassy and bloodshot. She was on the kitchen floor, clawing helplessly at her throat as her tongue swelled and hives burst across her skin. I was 9 years old, frozen in fear as my grandma died of anaphylactic shock. "Do you know what it feels like?" she whimpered. A wild sort of growl wove in and out of her voice, turning some of her syllables to gobbling whines. "Your throat feels big and tight, like it's getting too big for your skin, and then your ears hurt and your eyes feel so hot, like holes. Except they're watering." She giggled. "So silly. Coals don't make water." Caleb pressed his mouth to my ear. "Don't," he breathed. "You try to swallow, but there isn't any room in your throat to swallow because it's so swollen. You try to breathe, but you can't. I even tried to stick my fingers down my throat to keep the airway open, but I made myself throw up instead. My throat kept swelling and trapped the vomit when I tried to breathe because my lungs, my good old lungs, didn't stop trying until the end. The vomit went into my lungs and it made me vomit more. I suffocated while drowning in my own puke, Tyler. And it's your fault." She ended on a wild, gobbling scream, so unlike her, so inhuman, that I wailed. "Your fault," Grandma repeated. "Your fault." And I knew it as I lay there wriggling and dying and aspirating my vomit. I knew it, Tyler. I knew it was your fault, and I hated you. The line went dead. A second later, the telltale boop signaled the end of the call. The phone slipped from my hand and fell to the floor. "That wasn't here," Caleb whispered. "That wasn't Grandma, Tyler. It wasn't. It was something else that got there first." "Like what?" I screamed. He recoiled as if burned. "That's a shitty joke. I didn't quite realize what I was saying, and I certainly didn't believe it, but in that moment, it was the only thing I could think of, the only thing I could say without losing my mind. How dare you? How could you? How did you even find out about?" A sob escaped my throat. Caleb stared at me, white-faced and hollowed eye. The sight of him enraged me. It was all I could do not to hit him. Instead, I snatched the phone. "No," Caleb screamed. "Tyler, you won't remember the rules." I shoved him away and dialed a string of random numbers. Hope and hysterical certainty filled my chest. This was a hoax. Caleb had devised one hell of a practical joke, and I was about to prove it. Bring. "Operator, how may I help you?" "Operator, please connect me." "As you say." A click, a series of mechanical beeps, a clunk, then bring. Oh, thank God. A female voice, frantic and shrill. Please help me. I'm stuck in I think an old museum, but it isn't right. There are things I don't." An explosion issued from the speaker, so loud my ears suddenly felt muffled. "Oh, Jesus, help!" she screamed, thumping, followed by another explosion. "He's coming! Please help me, please!" She broke into a deafening scream and suddenly cut off. Shuffling filled the line, followed by a rhythmic wet sound, then footsteps and a thump as someone picked up the phone. "Better hang up." The voice was shrill and giggly, almost cartoonish. "Better hang up right now before I find you." I ended the call. Then I hurled the phone against the wall. I picked it up and threw it again and again until a series of deep dents riddled the paint. Then I stomped on it, crushing it into a dozen pieces. Then I swept it up, threw it into the fireplace, doused them with turpentine, and set them on fire. The smell was acrid and suffocating. I ushered Caleb into the front yard where we waited for 2 hours. Then I went back into the house. I beelined for the fireplace. Sitting on the grate, shiny, clean, and untouched, was the razor. As I watched, the screen lit up and it began to ring. I left it there. With Caleb's help, I packed some clothes and loaded up the dogs. The phone didn't stop ringing the entire time. Caleb wept, but didn't say a word. It wasn't too hard to find a dog-friendly Airbnb. We settled in for the night. I slept poorly, but I slept. Until about 4 a.m., when I woke to the shrill scream of a phone. I shot up, panicking, as the dogs began to howl. I fumbled for the lamp. Golden light filled the room. There, on the floor in front of the door, was the phone. I stomped it into pieces again, swept it up, and tipped it into the garbage. That was 5 hours ago. I know this isn't over. The question is, what the hell do I do when it comes back?